The atmosphere around this fight has shifted into something far darker and far more serious than hype or promotion. This no longer feels like a spectacle designed for clicks or highlight reels. It feels like a collision course. The language coming out of camps, interviews, and analysis isn't playful anymore. It's war language. No safety net. No friends. No room for illusion. When fighters start talking this way, it usually means one thing. They know what's coming, and they know it's dangerous. The conversation around Jake Paul's sparring has become the center of that unease. On one side, there's admiration for the audacity. On the other, deep skepticism about what's real and what's staged. Heavyweights like Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez, and Lawrence Okolie are elite names on paper. They carry size, power, and credentials that most boxers never get close to. But boxing people don't judge preparation by names alone. They judge it by intent, pressure, and honesty. And that's where the doubt creeps in. Sparring at its core is meant to teach. It's not meant to end careers before fight night. No serious camp wants its fighter concussed or broken weeks out. So of course, nobody is trying to knock Jake Paul unconscious in the gym. That much is obvious. But there's a massive gap between controlled learning and artificial safety. Critics argue that what we're seeing in selective clips doesn't reflect genuine danger. It reflects cooperation, paid rounds, muted intensity, enough resistance to look real, but not enough to expose brutal truths. That skepticism exploded once knockout clips started circulating. Short bursts, one-punch moments, a fighter suddenly collapsing or drifting toward the ropes. To casual fans, it looks explosive. To seasoned eyes, it looks incomplete. Real sparring tells its story over rounds, not seconds. Real dominance shows itself in control, consistency, and pressure over time. When only the cleanest moments are shown, it invites one unavoidable question. What happened before and after? The concern grows deeper when you analyze the sparring partners themselves. Yes, they are professional heavyweights. Yes, they're ranked. But style matters more than size when preparing for a specific opponent. Anthony Joshua is not a generic heavyweight. He is a precise, disciplined puncher with a devastating jab, sharp timing, and an understanding of distance that has been refined at the highest level of the sport. Some of the fighters Jake is sparring don't replicate that at all. Some are slower. Some rely on clinching. Some fight in ways that actually reduce the kind of danger Joshua presents. That's why certain analysts argue Jake is sparring the wrong men. Not because they aren't good, but because they don't mirror the threat he's about to face. Joshua doesn't need chaos. He doesn't need reckless exchanges. He needs space, rhythm, and one opening. And that's the terrifying part. You don't prepare for that by looking good in clips. You prepare for it by surviving long, uncomfortable rounds where you're being systematically broken down. Then there's the physical evidence that can't be dismissed. Jake himself has admitted his body is taking damage. A nose shifted, eyes marked, heavyweight punches landing with enough force to leave lasting reminders. That alone contradicts the idea that these sessions are completely soft. Something real is happening in that gym. The question is whether it's happening at the right level, or whether it's just dangerous enough to hurt him without truly preparing him. The psychological side may be even more troubling. Confidence has carried Jake Paul through every stage of his boxing journey. Confidence has allowed him to walk into fights others wouldn't dare touch. But confidence can become delusion when it stops listening to warning signs. Several voices in the boxing world believe Jake genuinely thinks he can win this fight. Not survive. Not last. Win. That belief is powerful, but against a former two-time heavyweight champion, belief alone doesn't bend reality. When observers recall what happened to Francis Ngannou, the comparison becomes chilling. Ngannou wasn't a novice to violence. He had size, strength, durability, and had just pushed Tyson Fury to the limit. And yet, when Joshua found his rhythm, it was over almost instantly. That wasn't luck. That was levels. And that's the phrase that keeps coming back. Levels to boxing. Levels that don't reveal themselves until the bell rings and the gloves are small and the man across from you isn't holding back. Some analysts fear Jake's instinct, once the danger becomes undeniable, will be survival. Movement without purpose. Running without threat. Trying to last rather than trying to win. And if that happens, the fight changes completely. Joshua won't rush. He won't panic. He'll cut the ring, apply pressure, and let the inevitable arrive on its own schedule. At the same time, there's an undeniable respect growing for Jake's willingness to step into this storm. Many fighters with real belts and real legacies would take this payday without hesitation. The money is enormous. The exposure is global. For Joshua, it's a calculated cash-out moment. For Jake, it's existential. Win or lose, this fight will define him forever. It's the moment where influencer boxing collides head-on with the unforgiving core of the sport. There's also the wider conversation about boxing itself. Purists feel conflicted watching someone bypass years of struggle, amateur careers, and financial hardship to land the biggest stage. Others argue that Jake and Logan Paul have injected life into a sport that desperately needed new eyes. Younger fans are watching, talking, arguing. Boxing is trending again. And that matters, even if it's uncomfortable. But none of that changes what happens inside the ring. Once the bell sounds, the noise fades. The clips don't matter. The followers don't matter. The money doesn't matter in that moment. What matters is defense, composure, and the ability to respond when a heavyweight champion decides to test your soul. Many believe this fight ends early. Some hope Jake can surprise the world. A few believe the shock alone would rewrite boxing history. Most, however, see this as a bridge too far, taken too soon, against the wrong opponent. Not because Jake lacks courage, but because boxing punishes impatience brutally. As fight night approaches, the tension only grows. This isn't just about winning or losing. It's about whether ambition can outpace reality without consequences. And that's why this fight feels different. It's not funny anymore. It's not light. It's serious, dangerous, and unforgettable, no matter how it ends. Now let me know what you think. Are Jake Paul's sparring sessions real preparation